Welcome back to The Lost Tactician, where we unearth the forgotten strategies that shaped survival itself. Imagine standing on the front lines of the Second World War. The sky erupts in a cacophony of artillery fire, the ground trembles beneath your boots, and every instinct screams at you to run. But there's nowhere to go. Your only salvation is a hole in the ground, a crude opening that descends into darkness. What if I told you that these weren't just desperate refugees, but masterfully conceived subterranean fortresses that defied the deadliest bombardments of human history? Today, we're descending into the hidden world of earth shelters, the unsung architects of survival that proved sometimes the best defense isn't what stands above ground, but what lies beneath your feet. The trench warfare of the Great War had taught military planners one brutal lesson. Soldiers needed more than shallow ditches to survive modern industrialized killing. By the time World War II erupted, the scale of destruction had evolved exponentially. Relentless aerial bombardment, devastating artillery barrages that could last for hours, and the ever-present threat of chemical weapons created a hellscape where traditional fortifications simply crumbled. Concrete bunkers could be targeted and obliterated. Surface trenches offered minimal protection against the concussive force of high-explosive shells that could collapse lungs and rupture organs without leaving a visible mark. Resources were stretched impossibly thin across multiple fronts, and tactical situations shifted so rapidly that permanent structures became obsolete before completion. This confluence of desperation and innovation gave birth to the earth shelter, a deceptively simple concept that would become one of the war's most sophisticated survival strategies. These weren't mere holes. They were engineered sanctuaries that harnessed the oldest protective material known to humanity, the ground itself. The genius of earth shelters lay in understanding the fundamental physics of protection. Soil possesses remarkable properties that modern materials struggle to replicate. Its density absorbs and disperses blast waves, transforming the focused energy of an explosion into harmless vibrations that dissipate through layers of compacted earth. A meter of soil provides thermal mass that insulates against the scorching heat of summer and the bone-numbing cold of Russian winters, maintaining relatively stable temperatures when surface conditions became lethal. The designs varied dramatically based on terrain, time, and tactical necessity. Simple dugouts were carved directly into trench walls, offering immediate cover during bombardments. More elaborate cut-and-cover structures used corrugated iron sheets, salvaged timber, and countless sandbags topped with thick earthen layers, creating reinforced chambers that could withstand near-direct hits. The most sophisticated were deep-mined dugouts descending 10, 15, even 20 meters below the surface, far beyond the penetration depth of most artillery shells. These underground labyrinths were only possible where geology permitted, where the water table remained low and the soil composition allowed stable excavation. Soldiers became amateur geologists, reading the landscape, exploiting natural contours for camouflage, and transforming abandoned mines, hillsides, and coastal cliffs into invisible fortresses. Debris from destroyed buildings became precious reinforcement material, steel beams and concrete fragments given second life as structural supports in the darkness below. Descending into an earth shelter meant entering a world of profound contradictions. The psychological impact was immediate and unrelenting. Darkness pressed in from all sides, broken only by the feeble glow of oil lamps or candles that consumed precious oxygen. The air grew thick and stale, carrying the mingled scents of unwashed bodies, damp earth, and latrine buckets that couldn't be emptied during bombardments. Claustrophobia wasn't just a fear, it was a constant companion. The weight of tons of soil overhead, a reminder that burial could come not from enemy action, but from simple structural failure. Water seeped through earthen walls, creating perpetual dampness that rotted clothing, fostered disease, and made sleep a cold, miserable affair. Insects thrived in the darkness, lice and rats becoming unwelcome but inevitable inhabitants. Yet, paradoxically, these underground chambers also provided something precious beyond measure: security. When shells screamed overhead and the surface world dissolved into chaos, the earth absorbed the violence. Down below, men could close their eyes without fear of shrapnel, could hear each other speak without shouting over artillery, could maintain the fragile routines that kept them human. Makeshift furnishings appeared, photographs of loved ones tacked to support beams, card games played by lamplight, and the bonds of shared survival that transcended rank and background. These weren't just shelters, they were inadvertent communities forged in desperation. Military commanders quickly recognized that earth shelters offered more than passive defense. These subterranean networks enabled troop rotation under fire, allowing exhausted units to be replaced without exposing soldiers to enemy observation. Medical stations established in deep dugouts could operate continuously, surgeons performing life-saving procedures while battles raged meters above their heads. Communication centers buried beneath the earth maintained contact when surface installations were obliterated. Perhaps most remarkably, these tunnels facilitated surprise attacks, allowing troops to move unseen and emerge behind enemy lines at decisive moments. The structures themselves proved astonishingly durable. Across Europe and the Pacific, remnants of these earth shelters still exist today, their corroded iron and packed soil chambers standing as silent testimony to engineering born from necessity. For troops, the psychological impact was profound. Knowing refuge existed, that rest and recuperation were possible, even in the most contested zones, sustained morale and operational capability when all seemed lost. Earth shelters didn't just save lives in the moment. They enabled armies to remain in the fight across years of grinding attrition. The principles that made earth shelters effective in 1940 remain relevant in our present age. Modern urban warfare increasingly recognizes the value of subterranean protection against drone strikes and precision munitions. The same thermal mass and blast-absorbing properties that shielded soldiers now inspire sustainable architecture and disaster-resistant infrastructure. Climate scientists and engineers study these wartime innovations, applying ancient wisdom to contemporary challenges of extreme weather and failing surface systems. But perhaps most importantly, these forgotten structures remind us of human ingenuity under impossible circumstances. The soldiers and engineers who transformed Earth into a lifeline demonstrated that survival often depends not on technological superiority, but on understanding and working with the fundamental forces of nature. Their legacy deserves remembrance not as monuments to war, but as testaments to resilience, adaptation, and the unbreakable human will to endure. If this journey beneath the battlefield has changed how you see the ground beneath your feet, hit that like button and share this video with anyone who appreciates the hidden ingenuity of history. Subscribe to The Lost Tactician for more explorations into the strategies, tactics, and survival wisdom that shaped our world. Because understanding how our ancestors endured doesn't just honor their memory, it prepares us for whatever challenges lie ahead. Until next time, stay tactical.